The Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro 12.4 is now finally available across the world. And if you're looking for an extremely large flagship tablet that has plenty of accessories and loads of flexibility, then consider your search over. Inside of its massive box, you'll find the device itself, a thick 6-amp charging cable, and a 120-watt hypercharged charging brick, making it the fastest charging tablet on the planet. The pad itself isn't exactly cheap, starting at €699 for the 8GB RAM 256GB storage variant, but that's still noticeably cheaper than other flagship 12.4-inch size tablets. But it's certainly worth it if you manage to pick up a deal that includes all of the accessories that I'm about to show you in that price. However, if you miss out on the deal, then the magnetic cover will set you back €69. It's made from artificial leather and glass fiber, which gives it a solid feel. It of course has magnets which clamp onto the back of the tablet. The foldable section can be folded into a few different ways to prop it up to your liking, and when you're all done, that foldable flap can stick to the screen using magnets, which makes me wonder why there is another small magnetic flap that honestly just gets in the way. The magnetic touchpad keyboard is priced at €169 and also has a synthetic leather feel. It's a bit more pricey compared to the Xiaomi Pad 6 keyboard, but for good reason. It now has 78 backlit keys, including the full range of keyboard function keys, which double up as shortcut buttons, as well as an extra large clickable touchpad. It has 3 pogo pins for a direct ultra-low latency connection, and just like the magnetic cover, the keyboard case also clamps onto the tablet using magnets to keep it in place. But one of the most welcomed improvements this year is that there is now an adjustable kickstand, which uses a solid hinge for a 110 to a 165 degree stepless angle adjustment. And lastly, we have the new Xiaomi Focus Pen, which comes in at €99. It is now black, which suits the color of the other accessories, has an extra button, and boasts a whopping 8192 pressure sensitivity levels, which is twice as many levels as last year's 2nd gen Smart Pen. Just like last year's, it too can clamp onto the top of your tablet with magnets, and yes, those magnets are used to charge it up as well. These accessories are a must if you would like to get the full experience, and we'll get to all of their features later on, but for now, let's focus on the actual tablet. The first thing you'll notice on its back is its camera island, which is in line with the design of the Xiaomi 14 module. It's a nice touch, but of course it can't quite match up to the same camera capabilities of Xiaomi's top-end smartphones. That said, it still makes use of a flagship level main camera, that being a 50 megapixel ISOCELL JN1 sensor, which is accompanied by a 2 megapixel depth sensor. It would have been nice to have seen an ultra-wide camera included here, but at least the selfie camera has seen an upgrade this year. The main camera produces very good photos for a tablet when set to high resolution, photo or portrait mode, which offers fairly decent edge detection and background blur. Main video can now be recorded at 4K 60fps, which is really good to see, and I was rather impressed with its video detail and stabilization. The selfie camera has also been upgraded this year, but unfortunately video is still capped at 1080p and 30fps. However, there are now 4 microphones, so the audio quality should be pretty good. That said, let me know your thoughts on the video as well as the microphone quality. And selfie photos come out more than acceptable as well, with decent color and detail. However, portrait mode edge detection can be questionable at times. Having a flagship main camera is certainly a nice addition, and 4K 60fps main video recording has certainly put a smile on my face. It's also nice to see that the selfie camera has seen an upgrade this year, but I must say I'm a bit disappointed not to see a flagship cam as the selfie cam with 4K video abilities, because that's likely the camera that you'll be using the most on a tablet. That elegant looking camera module sits on top of an aluminum alloy unibody, which covers the back and sides and only comes in one color variant known as graphite gray. The Pad 6s Pro is extremely thin, coming in at just 6.26mm and weighs in at just 590 grams, which is relatively light for a 12.4-inch tablet. The display is now protected by stronger Gorilla Glass 5, and while the bezels wrapping around aren't the thickest I've seen, they're still certainly noticeable. The screen itself is a massive 12.4-inch sized IPS LCD screen with a more practical 3:2 aspect ratio, and boasts 294 ppi, which is significantly higher than the competition thanks to its 3K resolution. It has a 12-bit color depth, which is capable of displaying over 68 billion colors, has a wide DCI-P3 color space, and supports Dolby Vision, HDR10, HDR10 Plus, and Widevine L1 content. It still packs in an impressive 144Hz screen refresh rate, which can be set to 60, 90, or 144Hz. It also makes use of adaptive sync technology to fluctuate between 30 and 144 frames per second, and the cherry on top is that its touch sampling rate has now been increased to 360 Hz. There's now 4096 levels of brightness thanks to DC dimming, and the display is now a lot brighter thanks to a peak of 900 nits, bringing it up to AMOLED brightness levels. When it comes to software, the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro makes use of Xiaomi's new HyperOS software, which is skinned over Android 14, and since it's fully fledged global software, of course all of Google's goodies are included. The software is identical to the HyperOS we see on Xiaomi smartphones, but they have added in a few features for tablets so that you can fully utilize its massive display. There's split screen, which can be activated in numerous ways, but I like to simply drag an app in through the app dock. You can flip the sides around, change each app size, and even flick home from one app to use one half of the screen as you usually would when using the full screen, and even open a different app to add it to split screen. You can also use the taskbar to open an app up in a floating window, which you can then pin to the side for use later on. And if you really want a laptop-like experience, then there's a new workstation mode which gives you that desktop-like feel and allows you to add icons to your desktop without it affecting your actual home screen layout. When in this mode, each app you open opens as a floating window by default, so if you want an app to go full screen, you have to manually expand it. HyperOS is designed with Xiaomi's new human car home ecosystem in mind, so if your Xiaomi smartphone is on, another icon gets added to your app dock, which you can simply tap on to mirror your phone. You can also drag and drop files between the two devices, but the awesome thing about this ecosystem is that you can use director mode on both your phone and your tablet to use your tablet screen as a monitor. Speaking of monitors, Xiaomi's latest flagship tablet now also makes use of a USB 3.2 Type-C port, which doubles up as a display port so that you can hook it up to an external display. When hooked up to an external display, it can output at up to 4K resolution and support 60 frames per second, but it sticks to its same 3:2 aspect ratio, so you will always have black bars on the sides. There's also no way to use it as an extended display, only as a mirrored screen, and since you can't turn the tablet screen off when using your external monitor, the best workaround would be to drop the tablet screen brightness, as this obviously doesn't affect the connected screen. If you can look past this, then this is a very good alternative to working on a laptop with an external screen. You can of course also hook up an external keyboard and mouse, but since I have the touchpad keyboard, there's really no need. This is awesome for viewing 4K content or having a bigger display for work, but one of the main reasons I would hook up an external monitor or TV is when connecting a Bluetooth controller and playing games on a larger screen for that console-like experience. But the tablet screen is already massive, so you don't exactly have to feel left out if you don't have access to an external screen, especially if you have the touchpad keyboard. As mentioned at the start, this official keyboard features 78 mechanical keys. They're nicely spaced out and feel just as premium, clicky, and accurate as a laptop keyboard. It has a backlight too, which I haven't seen from a Xiaomi keyboard before, and there's also an LED indicator on the caps lock key. The function keys at the top work great for shortcuts, and there's a dedicated command button too, which offers even more shortcut options, which can further be customized in settings, where you can create custom shortcuts to suit your workflow. The glass touchpad feels just as great as any laptop trackpad. It's large enough to not feel the need to use the touchscreen, and it can also be slightly customized by changing the cursor style and adjusting the pointer speed. You can enable touch to click or physically click in the trackpad, which is very clicky thanks to it being a mechanical button. Scrolling is a breeze, and there are even trackpad gestures, which are simple to use and make the whole experience just that much better. The touchpad keyboard is so much better than any other Xiaomi keyboard I have tried out in the past, but now it's time for us to shift our focus to the new Xiaomi Focus Pen. While the tablet is locked, you can simply tap the screen with your pen to start taking down a note. With double the pressure sensitivity this year, you can really be creative with your sketches, and there are buttons on the pen itself for ease of access. The first button lets you switch between writing tools, and the button above that allows you to switch between different colors. Other than more pressure levels and lower latency, the pen now offers a third button known as the spotlight button. If you click this in once and then hold it in after, you can temporarily write over a note if you want to indicate something to someone else. This can be used anywhere and within any app. It disappears as soon as you touch down on the screen again. Alternatively, you can hold the spotlight button down from the start and use it as a virtual laser pointer, which is ideal for presentations. Waving around the pen does take some getting used to, but once you have mastered it, it's a breeze to use. The spotlight button can also be used as a remote shutter button when in the camera app. The middle button can also be used as a screenshot button, and of course the lower button can be used to open up the Notes app. The pen will last you up to 150 hours on a single charge, and 60 seconds of charging will give you 7 hours of use. But what about the actual tablet? Well, it should last way more than a day thanks to its massive 10,000 mAh battery, and if you are running low on battery, there's always insane 120 watt wide charging speeds, which charges up this massive tablet from 0 to 100% in just 35 minutes. Pairing this massive battery alongside the flagship 4nm run Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 CPU not only means fantastic efficiency, but incredible daily performance as well. Having last year's flagship Qualcomm chipset paired up with the latest LPDDR5X RAM and UFS 4.0 storage means that heavy-hitting benchmark tests are run with ease, and scores are right up there with the best of the best. Not only does it achieve high benchmark scores, but it's also a champion when it comes to gaming. The first game I fired up was Genshin Impact, and we managed to get a rock-solid 60 FPS on average when playing at maxed out graphical settings. This is a very demanding game, so I'm happy to announce that I never experienced any FPS drops or overheating. Call of Duty Mobile is another one of my favorite games, and thankfully this time we could set the game to ultra frame rate mode for 120 FPS gameplay. But for some reason, the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro caps the game out at 90 FPS. I really hope this gets addressed with a future software update, since this device can certainly handle this game at a higher refresh rate thanks to its advanced CPU and 144Hz screen refresh rate. But at least for now we're getting a stable 90 FPS most of the time. This massive tablet also packs in Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 7, but unfortunately there is no option for cellular connectivity, and NFC can only be used for file transfers. There's also no option for expandable storage or a headphone jack. There is, however, 4 microphones and 6 speakers with Dolby Atmos support, so let's go ahead and give them a listen. The Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro may skip out on cellular connectivity, expandable storage, a headphone jack, and an AMOLED display, but it can be interconnected with your Xiaomi smartphone, comes with up to 512 gigs of storage, has 6 speakers, and packs in one of the best and brightest LCD displays I have ever laid my eyes on. It is packed to the brim with flagship leading hardware, has an insanely large battery with very fast 120 watt charging, is filled with useful features, comes alongside some very premium accessories for one incredible experience, and it does all of this and more for a very fair price when compared to other 12.4-inch sized tablets. Let me know your thoughts on some of your favorite features that the Xiaomi Pad 6s Pro has to offer in the comment section down below. This is TechNick, and I'll catch you in the next one.